In this video, I'm going to show you some of the important changes that I've made to other photographers' work that makes their images more effective. I'm also going to explain why I made those changes. Our members on Carl Taylor Education really enjoy the photo critique shows of their work. It gives them an opportunity to show off their photography and gain valuable feedback. We hold weekly photography challenges as well as other themed photography critiques, and I've just introduced a popular new episode called Working to a Brief, and that's where I set the photographers a very specific art director's brief and they have to execute it. You can check out all of that on our platform on Carl Taylor Education. But today, let's show you some of the valuable comments and changes that I've made to other photographers' work. So what I'm looking at is obviously we want the attention drawn to this bottle, which it is. It's working really, really well. I love these little patches of light here and here. I'd maybe subdue that one a little bit darker. And it's the Hessian sac around the bottle for me. It's a little bit too sharp. So it's been sharpened over all the picture. To bring attention to the bottle, but at the same time the Hessian sac's been sharpened and the contrast on the Hessian sac is a little bit bright. So what I want to do is draw a little bit more attention to the bottle rather than to the Hessian sac. So I'm just going to bring the highlights down a little bit on that and just going to maybe darken a fraction there as well, just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to invert that mask to hide what I just did, and then I'm just going to airbrush the edges of that back a little bit less tonal range there. So you can see I'm darkening that down, just taking a little bit off the edge. I might want to leave a couple of patches so that you can still draw in to the bottle, but I want to make the bottle the absolute hero of the shot. Now if I flick that on and off, you see we've got a large, really bright rim around the bottle. But if I turn that on, now the bottle has got more focus on it. So the bottle becomes the strongest part of the focus. And that is the imperative part of product photography. The dress needs, because the dress is the big thing here, the dress needs to win a lot more. So, you know, I would have ramped up, just watch this a second, I would have ramped up the contrast on this dress. I'm just going to do this here a second, just playing around with the contrast on that dress. Now I'm going to invert that mask and I'm going to hide what I did there. And then I'm going to take a brush, I'm going to lock that flow rate down a little bit. And then I'm going to take some key parts of this dress on the highlights. And I'm just going to introduce what makes this look like more contrasty lighting on patches of this dress. Notice how it's also increasing the saturation on elements of that dress as well, because the contrast always increases saturation. And now what's happening is that it looks like we've got some sort of more magical light dancing in around on this dress. And if we flick that on and off, we've gone from a flat dress to a lively dress, okay? And as a sort of fashion-y shot, that's what it is. Now, as soon as I've looked at that, I've noticed, well, that bit there is a bit bright for me, but that's easy because I can just go back to black paint and I can paint that back away again with the mask. If you're not familiar with using masks in Photoshop, then that's covered in our tutorials. But now, you know, very simply in just 30 seconds, I've made that dress pop out of there. I can then take a hue saturation adjustment layer. I can steal that mask and move that mask and drop it into the hue saturation. And then I can go into the hue saturation settings and I can start to mess around even with the hues there so that I now can richen up the greens on that dress. And in a matter of minutes, we've gone from a sort of flat, blander dress and punching that up to really bring some additional drama to it. So there's little things like that, that for those sort of fashion shots we can really make it punch out. Right, so I think this is really good. Very good job on this, really well done. But you know, the bottle and the actual powder are almost the same. Let's just take a look here. If I ramp the saturation up on this, we can get this powder looking a lot more lively. And then what we can choose to do is we can choose to airbrush back maybe the bottle so that we basically, let me just put that into the right brush mode, so that we basically tone the bottle down maybe so that we keep a separation between the powder and the bottle. Because now what we've got is that we can see the two separated a little bit more. And here we are, you know, without it, it's all almost the same tone. And with it, we get one thing, the product standing out a little bit more than the other. So that's what I would have done on that one. But I think a spectacular shot nonetheless. So we've got this dappled light hitting here. It feels really nice. I think they've used a grad filter because interestingly the sky is darker than the reflection. So the reflection is almost the more distracting part. So I would have considered, if you've got the detail, I won't have it here, but if you've got it in the raw file, is let's get that reflection in the water toned down a bit. Now if I'm just going to hide that, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit more drama to this shot via burn and dodge. So I'm saying, right, I don't want that bright reflection, I want to tone that down. Now immediately, just that one little fix has improved that shot quite dramatically. It's a very symmetrical image, so we've got the bottle right in the middle, we've got the rays of light pouring out here, the refraction from here and here, and also the glow behind the image, behind the product. But the rays of light glowing out this side are not the same as the ones glowing out this side. So I would have liked to see more symmetry. Get the polygon lasso tool, find the middle of the photo that it's sat on. So if, for example, we did layer new copy just of that base layer, and then we edit, transform, flip that on the horizontal, and we end up with that, and then we move that over there, then we've got perfect symmetry. So the first thing as you're looking at this image, you think, yeah, I could drink that beer. Beer looks good. However, what is happening in this shot, okay? Any guesses? Let me tell you. Right, first of all, let me just put a layer on there so we can see. What's happening is that the manufacturer of this beer is going to want you to look at that because they want to sell it. But unfortunately, we're looking at that and that more because that is the highest point of contrast. It's much brighter than the rest of the shot. And in fact, it's too bright. That area there is overexposing, so we don't see the bubbles anymore. Now let me just show you briefly. If I lasso this area, let me just take this. I'm just going to do this kind of roughly. I'm going to take this whole glass actually at the moment. I'm going to bring a curves in on here, just a curves level, and I'm going to pull this whole area down from the white end. Now you see, now in doing that, as soon as I do that, your focus goes to the label, okay? And that is what the client is going to want. Now I may have pulled that down a little bit too much. I can, you know, play around with it, but we should have got it right kind of in the lighting or a little bit in the post work. But let's say I even just pull it down to there. Let me flick that on and off, okay? Now, where is your eye going when it's on and when it's off? Okay, so when it's on, you're going straight to the beer. When it's off, you're going a little bit more to the label. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't actually reveal maybe some of the lager a little bit more in there. I'm also going to take the lager in this area here as well. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm just going to bring another curves adjustment in here. And I'm going to pull the curves up on that bit, okay? Now that's not feathered enough. Let me just rub out what I did on the glass for a moment. Let's just look at what we've done on the bottle. So we're bringing more focus to the bottle now than we had before. If we flick these two layers, watch, the focus goes to the glass If we flick these two layers, the focus goes to the bottle and the product. And in saying that, we could have even dodged up the product a little bit more as well. So let me just I mean, this is the wrong way of doing it with this tool, but I'm going to do it because this is the quickest way for me to do it. We could have brought a little bit more focus onto the bottle label, everything there, by bringing in, just changing the balance of the lighting, okay? Maybe even darkening in the little hops there. Why is it floating in space? Because on my calibrated monitor here, I can only, and I say only just, see a very, very faint line of an edge there. And I would have done something with this. I would have got, let's do it very quickly and roughly here. Let's make a selection of where that edge that I can just about perceive. Let's take that there. Because this product is not grounded, okay? This product is floating in space, and yet it is a beautiful, beautiful product shot. And ignore the fact that the red liquid bit's got lighter while I'm doing this. It needs that ledge, it needs that base, it needs to sit on something visible, and unfortunately it's not, it's almost floating in black. The contrast in this area here is not quite as strong as I would like. Now let's just show you what we could do about that. If I bring a marquee out and I'm going to feather that, select, modify, feather that. I don't know how big this picture is, but I'm going to say feather it by 25. I'm going to say OK. Now what I would want to bring in here is a curves adjustment, or I'll bring a levels in for this one, because I just want to change the contrast. Look at this, watch what I've done there. Look, popping that name up there with brightness, but it also needs some strength in the shadows there. And we'll just mess around with the mid-tones a little bit. Pop that in a little bit more. I'm making that more pop, right? Now flick this on and off, look, boom, 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 boom. What is the manufacturer going to want to see? That is what sells the product, that's what the manufacturer is going to see. I just want to get a little bit more bite in this. We've lost the symmetry because of that background. So it was bent like that, distorted, now it's corrected straight. My interpretation on the colours has certainly helped. There's the original, there's the punchier face, and then there's the shift in colours. This part of the face has got to be the brightest bit. Well, I hope that you found those critiques useful. If you'd like to get your own work shown and critiqued, head over to carltayloreducation.com. Get my completely free photography course with no sign-up required. You can also access our free 90-page ebook. Just click the link or go to carltayloreducation.com.